Hi everybody and welcome back to Porsche Talk. On this week's episode we've got a very special review. 5 years ago Porsche revealed the Taycan, their first foray into electric motors. Now, 4.5 years later, at the end of 2024, Porsche gave us this, the Macan EV. Macan is Porsche's best-selling model with over 850,000 units worldwide. You can still get the petrol version of this car, but only in the UK. So, is it a risky move for Porsche to make their best-selling model electric? Let's find out. Now, the first thing you may be wondering, why is this car covered in bugs? Well, I've actually been living with this car for the last week as a loaner from Porsche Centre Bournemouth. I am lucky enough to be a member of staff at Porsche Centre Bournemouth, participating in Porsche GB's Charged with Experience scheme, where every customer-facing colleague lives with an electric vehicle for a week. The new electric Macan is bigger than the petrol version was, at 4.78 metres long, 1.9 metres wide and 1.6 metres tall. As this is now an electric Macan, there's no engine under here. So Porsche give us a nice 84 litre storage compartment, perfect for keeping our charging leads in. But of course, that isn't the only storage compartment. If we go round to the back, here we have our rear boot with a 540 litre capacity and underfloor storage. If 540 litres isn't enough for you, however, you can fold the seats down and give you 1,348 litres of storage space. Let's leave that in. I personally think, however, 540 litres is a massive boot, and oh, I can fit in it. What you can do with this car as well is you have the electric foldable seats, which make life a lot easier than having to climb in. Also available, if you just need to put down that centre seat for skis or planks of long wood, the centre seat can be folded on its own. Prices start for this car at £68,500. That is for this standard Macan rear-wheel drive that puts out 340 PS and a 0 to 62 of 5.7 seconds. There are 3 other models as well that you can get. You can get the Macan 4, which is a 4-wheel drive version of this, has a motor underneath me here at the front and at the back, which puts out 480 PS. The 4S has 516 PS, or you can go all out and get the Turbo, which has 639 PS and a specially adapted rear motor specific for this car. So how does that equate to in range? For this standard car, Porsche estimate 333 to 398 miles of range. For the 4, 380 miles, for the 4S, 377 miles, and for the Turbo, 367 miles. But of course, you have to bear in mind that depends on weather, how much stuff you're using inside. And speaking of inside, let's go sit inside. Just before we go inside, I'd like to talk about charging. Now, on the Macan, you can either have manual flaps or you can have automatic charging flaps. There's one of these on both sides, but only on this side is there a fast charging point. This means that you can charge from 20 to 80% in about half an hour on a 150 kilowatt charger. If you're lucky and find a 270 kilowatt charger, that can be reduced down to 20 minutes. So here we're going to start in the back of the Macan. Now, this seat in front of me is set up in my driving position. I'm 6 foot tall, I'm a little bit chubby, I do like to sit quite low down and quite far back. But if I sit in the car straight, I've got lots of room for my knees, there's lots of headroom, and you also have this beautiful panoramic roof that opens all the way on the front half, but it really lets a lot of light into the car. You have 2 storage nets on the back of either seats, aircon vents down here. You can also spec the car to have rear ventilation control and rear heated seats. You have a nice storage compartment down here and 2 USB-C ports down the bottom. In the centre, you have a nice armrest with 2 cup holders that you can really get comfortable with. But if you're going to be carrying more than 2 people in the back, I think you could easily fit 3 knee-size adults into the back of this car. Here in the front of the Macan, the first thing that catches your eye is this 12.6-inch instrument cluster. You can have lots of different screens on here. You can go between the radar sensor, between the maps, and you can even have it as a full map as well. What's also unique about this is if you have your Apple CarPlay connected, you can have your Apple CarPlay maps on this screen. Also in the Macan, you have this 10.9-inch central screen. This, as I mentioned before, has wireless CarPlay and Android Auto, but you also have built-in navigation, you have media, car settings, your devices, you can change your themes, you can even set up your charging. So you can pre-call the battery, and you can set on your map, you can even set on your destinations for it to put in charging points that will make your journey as quick as possible. Also on the navigation, if you zoom right the way out, you have this blue line. This blue line tells you how far I would be able to go on the 215 miles of estimated range I've got. So if I wanted to go to Cardiff, for some reason, I would be fine on this charge. If I wanted to go to Leeds, I would need to stop and charge on the way. Another feature of this car that you can spec as an optional extra is a passenger display on this side that is the same size screen as this screen here. That means your passengers can watch movies as you're going along. Standard with the car is this lovely ambient lighting that runs along the top here. It also runs along the side of both the doors. And a really cool thing that I noticed is when your blind spot monitors are on the mirrors, they also make the door ambient lighting orange. What you have down here in this little compartment is a cooled and ventilated wireless charger. You also have USB-C ports inside this storage compartment here, so two people can charge their phones at the same time. On this central pillar, you have the aircon system and all the aircon controls, along with your heated seats. You can spec ventilated seats in the car as well, if you wanted to. This is a system that's been used in this car, the Panamera and the Cayenne, along with the gear selector up here. This is also very familiar to Taycan users along with Cayenne and Panamera. The main difference between this and the Taycan is that the Taycan had a screen here, whereas I prefer these physical buttons. Deep in here, you have some really nice deep cup holders with nice grippers to stop your drinks moving, and you also have a ton of storage underneath. There is also massive storage compartments in both doors, and this car is also fitted with the Bose speaker system, which makes a real difference to the sound quality in the car. The seating position in this car is fantastic. You sit a lot lower than you do in the petrol version, so it feels like much more of a sports car. It feels much more like a Porsche. In these 14-way comfort seats as well, you will be comfy in whatever position you're in. I like to sit myself quite low. This seat can go lower down as well, however. So, how does the car drive? Well, despite its size on nimble roads like the ones we're on now, it still feels really agile. We're currently driving along in normal mode, which just is soft suspension, soft dampers, standard rate of acceleration. This car's fitted with the springs and PASM suspension as opposed to the adaptive air. Personally, I think this is better. I've driven both of them. I prefer the springs. This car also has lovely 20-inch wheels, which hide the road noise a lot better than bigger wheels would. It is a really nice car to drive, and I think Porsche owners won't get discouraged by the fact that it's a big, heavy car. It is still very light, very nimble to drive, and very easy to drive as well. And with that electric motor, it picks up really nicely. It picks up much better than a car with a petrol motor would, for example. What I will say is, even in comfort mode, it is really, really nice to drive. We're just going to pop it up into sport mode here, which stiffens up the suspension. And I'm also going to put the suspension in Sport Plus. You can really feel it stiffens up the whole car. And it is also a lot more reactive to the accelerator. The regen braking also is enhanced. It slows itself down a lot more. You can drive it with one pedal driving, but I prefer to still use that brake pedal while it's there.
So, time for my final thoughts on this car. You join me here at the Intervolt charging station just off the A34. The car's been on charge for about 10 minutes. It's already put 20% into the car. 10% into the car. I'm probably only going to charge it up to about 80-90, just because I don't need a full battery. So, what are my final thoughts on how this car drives? I'd love to have done some more pieces to camera yesterday, but my phone died, and that's the only way I've got of doing any recordings. So, overall, driving this car on the motorway, it is smooth, it is comfortable, it makes no road noise at all, and it's really a nice place to be. You're really comfy in these seats, it's quiet, it's fast, the music in here is good because of the Bose speaker system that's built into the car. On the back roads you can hear the noise a little bit more. It does still wallow a bit, you know it's a big car, but it handles incredibly at the same time for the car that it is. Being the standard Macan, it's not the quickest of the electric range, but it is still fast enough for what you need it for. And yeah, but as great as a car it is, I couldn't live with one yet because I just do too many miles a day. I do 90 miles a day. I would have to be here 3 times a week because I'm not allowed to put a charger into where I live. So overall, you know, I couldn't live with an EV, but if I was to have one and I was in a lucky enough position to be able to afford this car, this would be it. But I'd have the Macan 4. I've actually put how I've spec'd one in the description box down below. Go take a look, let me know what you think. It's interesting though, this real world of electric charging. I mean, I've not been sat here long, as I said before, and it's charging really quickly. These rapid chargers are actually surprisingly fast. I only need to sit here for another 12 minutes to get to the 80% that I want, which in the grand scheme of things isn't a long time. If I go to a service station on a long journey, I'm usually there for that amount of time. So by the time I've done what I need to do in a service station, I can come out and the car will be charged enough that I need to go. It's not the worst way to go forward. There just needs to be more of these Instavolt kind of stations around the country. I am also intrigued though as to how much it's going to cost for a charge of electric. We got here at about 30% a charge and we're going to go up to 80, so we're going to put 50% of battery into the car. So I am very intrigued to see how much that costs. It's also really interesting to add, and this is not a gripe on the car, but this is electric charging in this country in general, that £50 gets me 231 miles of range. £50 gets my Abarth 500 miles of range. It's a lot of money. But that's it for this episode of Porsche Talk, my first proper review. Please like, comment and subscribe, and hopefully we can get a few more brand new Porsches on review. Many thanks. Bye now.